Oweleketv. This is Jibrin Angle and I am Rachel Abioye. In today's episode, we've got a lineup of interesting and current topics to delve into. Our show will revolve around a thorough examination and discussion of various political matters in and outside Nigeria. To kick things off, we'll begin with the recent fire incident at the Supreme Court. Just yesterday, a section of the Supreme Court complex located in the three-arm zone of Abuja was ablaze. This incident has left Nigerians pondering. Why did it happen at this particular time? Is there a hidden agenda at play, possibly involving the government or other parties? And could this potentially impact the presidential election petitions? Stay tuned as we unravel the answers to these questions. Additionally, we'll touch on President Bola Tinubu's appeal case in Chicago, the power struggle in Edo State, and even delve into some US politics. Joining us as our esteemed analyst on the show is Barrister Austin Manta, a seasoned legal practitioner with over 3 decades of experience, serving as a principal partner of AA Manta & Co. We're delighted to have him with us.
On the angle today, we have our usual and regular guest, who is called Barrister AA Manta. He is a lawyer, a legal practitioner for over 38 years. He's quite sound and established in law. I usually refer him as a conservative lawyer because his interpretation of the law, the Constitution, is really conservative, and most times it actually aligns with my way of my thought as well. He is the principal partner of AA Manta & Co. So, Barrister Manta, we are honored to have you once again on this show. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation. Thank you. We appreciate your generosity of giving us time all the time. Anytime we beckon on you, you respond, and you respond swiftly. We appreciate this gesture. Today, we shall be actually talking about more of politics, actually, but some kind of a low level law discussions or questions will be coming from me. But overwhelmingly, we'll be talking about politics, actually. We'll be discussing about, okay, before we go, actually, this is just developing. The Supreme Court fire incident. I don't know if you can give us an update. This thing, the situation just is still happening or just happened this morning. So, what is the update? Do you have any information, vital information you can give to our audience?
Thank you, Mr. Jibrin. We woke up this morning with the news of the fire in the Supreme Court. As of now, what we know is that the fire was limited, and the result of was as a result of an electrical spark in the office of one of the justices. From what we heard, the fire was put off with the help of fire extinguishers, and the spokesman of the Supreme Court has just issued a statement saying that everything has been contained, and they have in soft copy all the documents that would have been or might have been affected in the fire outbreak. So there is no cause for alarm. The Supreme Court has an e-library.
Okay, great.
Yes, so if files that are in physical form have been consumed by the fire, they can be reproduced by means of the soft copies available to the Supreme Court. And he has also dispelled any fear about the fire causing any interference in the forthcoming presidential election appeal which has been lodged in the Supreme
That's
Court.
a good news. All right.
Yes.
That's great, because the truth is, I was just waiting for you to restore our land. The truth is, when I read that, I woke up this morning, I read that report, I said, ha, this is a Nigerian factor again coming into play. I hope they're not trying to play some kind of gimmick with the presidential election case or whatever. Anyway, since they already, of course, definitely, it's good they came out so early, so swiftly, to give us, enlighten us, give us information about the situation. Otherwise, trust Nigerians, including myself, I would have been flying with the news of conspiracy theory right now. So, all right, that's a good news. So that's fine. Moving away from that, we'll be discussing about Tinubu's case. I don't know if you have the latest on the Tinubu's case at the Chicago University. We read that he appealed or whatever, and I don't know, that to me, I don't know, that is embarrassing. Why he should be appealing such case? What is he hiding? So please, can you give us an update on that case?
Well, as you know, the district court had made an order for the release of Tinubu's educational records with the State University of Chicago.
All right.
And the court had given 48 hours for the order to be complied with. Now, Tinubu's lawyers have asked a higher court in the US. It's not really an appeal, but they have asked for a review of that order. In other words, they are still fighting that the records should not be released. It is today, Monday, the higher court is going to consider the request, because that high court has stayed the order of the district court pending today, when it will look into the review application by Tinubu's lawyers. So we are waiting to hear the outcome of today's proceedings in the US on that process as we speak. But let me say that it is really embarrassing.
Yeah, it is.
That we have come to this level. I have said on occasion that the only qualification you are supposed to present to INEC to entitle you to contest is the equivalent of a school certificate, which is defined to include even a primary school certificate, together with some level of experience or ability to speak and communicate in English language, to the satisfaction of INEC, or even any other qualification that you can present to INEC that satisfies INEC. It is a subjective test. So any qualification you present to INEC that satisfies INEC is acceptable. The issue is that once you have any of these certificates, primary school, school cert, diploma, a university degree, you can present any of them. The issue is, once whatever you present should not be fake, it should not be forged. Now, in this case, Tinubu presented a university certificate from the State University of Chicago, and there are issues with that certificate. Now, it is not about whether he has met the qualification or not, the educational qualification or not. It is whether he has presented a genuine certificate to INEC, whether it is false or forged. That is the issue that is on ground now. And to the extent that he is fighting tooth and nail to prevent the educational records from being released, it's an embarrassing statement. Somebody should please tell the president to stop that. It's embarrassing not himself alone, but the whole country.
That is it.
We don't need to go to that. If I have my educational qualifications, why would I need to hide them? Why would I fight tooth and nail to prevent them from being brought to the public?
That's the point.
It gives us the feeling that there's something that he doesn't want the rest of us to see.
That is the point.
So it is embarrassing. The people advising him should please appeal to him to drop that objection. Let his educational records come out. Let's put this thing behind us once and for all.
Yes, but the thing is, I think I understand his appeal, even though it's embarrassing, just like I said earlier, and you just repeated it. If you have something to hide, absolutely. Because if I were in his shoes and the credentials are not true, are not genuine, obviously I will equally appeal. That is just, that appeal actually gives us a proof that this man, this Chicago stuff is just a ruse. It is something that is not real. It's not genuine. That is it. What other proof do we need? What other proof? This is a proof. This is an evidence that this man has a lot to hide, and that is just like I say. It is so embarrassing, honestly. I do not expect anything, Chicago University, to do anything, because Chicago, I know so well, is a liberal state. Illinois, Illinois, the state itself, the entire state is in fact, Chicago as a county, it's an extremely liberal county. In fact, that is where Barack Obama, that's his origin. That's his state of origin. Apart from being a Kenyan citizen or whatever, Chicago as a city is actually a very, an extremely liberal city. That is where former President Barack Obama hails from. His state of origin, his city of origin, in fact. So they will never, they are in tune with what is going on at the national level with President Biden. So, and on this, I bet you, because the U.S., the current present U.S. Joe Biden, U.S. government of Joe Biden, they are solidly behind Tinubu now. In fact, dictating to him how to go about his administration, especially with regard to Niger. A sort of, I bet you they will influence that. They are the ones. Obviously, let me be frank with you. Under normal circumstances, the University of Chicago would have just released this stuff, but because because it is an unusual situation, they are fighting it too. They are fighting to release the stuff to the public. I think the University of Chicago has their lawyer representing them at the court, and Tinubu too, the same thing. So why are they fighting? Because the government of the day, the government of President Biden, who is in cahoot with President Tinubu, they are influencing the matter at the Chicago University, and that's just it. It's sort of. So, and we may not see anything coming out because most of the judges in that city are liberal judges. So they may end up I was even surprised to hear the High Court judge finalizing or completing, giving his judgment in favor of Atiku Abubakar. Honestly, I was surprised because Chicago is a notoriously, when I say notoriously, that's even an understatement. It's a notoriously liberal city. A sort of most of the judges are activist judges. A sort of, so that is just it. Anyway, that is the embarrassment that this man is just. I don't know why we'll have such a person as the president of our country, or someone with this kind of very, very ugly record, past record, very, very ugly. Drug issue is labeled with a drug issue, labeled with forgery, labeled with dual citizenship, labeled with some kind of phantom corrupt company or whatever, a revenue collection company or whatever that has been fleecing the state of Lagos, sort of. So, so that is just it anyway. Let's move on to, I want to find out about Edo, the update about Edo State. What exactly is going on in Edo? The governor and the deputy, what is happening? What I heard is, okay, the deputy is trying to contest, but the governor, I don't know what exactly is the point. Can you briefly summarize what the issue is there?
What is happening in Edo State is a power play between two associates, between two people who hitherto fought together, fought on the same side, and the power play is about the forthcoming governorship election in Edo State, where the deputy governor wants to succeed his boss, the governor. And the governor, in turn, has someone else in mind. That is the summary of the case. In anticipation of what may happen, the deputy governor had gone to court to stop the House of Assembly from taking steps to impeach him on the ground that the governor had a hand in trying to remove him as the deputy governor. The dispute quickly escalated, and the governor had to remove the deputy governor from the government house, relocate his office to a different place. As at yesterday, I heard an appeal from the deputy governor appealing to the governor to forgive him, that he has no bad intention against the governor. But from what I hear as well, it has to do again with the zone that will produce the governor in the state. The governor feels that the central, Edo Central, should produce the governor, the next governor. And the deputy is not from that zone. So that is another angle to that power play. If you recall, the deputy governor is more or less an Adam Oshomole person. He had to cross over from Adams Oshomole to ally with Obaseki and fight the candidate that was brought forth by Adams Oshomole, and they ended up winning. If you also remember, 14 members of the House of Assembly that were elected were never sworn in the tenure of the 4 years of Obaseki. At the beginning, when the State House of Assembly was to be inaugurated, it was alleged that the inauguration and proclamation were done in the dead of the night. And the 14 members who were loyalists of Oshomole, so to speak, could not attend or were excluded from the inauguration. So the governor's people had their way and elected their principal officers, including the speaker. There was even litigation in court by the 14 members to set aside the proclamation made by the governor and the inauguration of the House of Assembly by a minority group. But they lost that case, and they ended up not being sworn in as members of the House of Assembly. The arrowhead of that fight was the deputy governor, Shuaibu. Wow. He was the one who superintended that fight to exclude those 14 House of Assembly members from the House, so that the governor's people
then he was on the side of Obaseki.
Yes, they were acting together. They were best of friends and best of colleagues at that point. Now, it now came to the tenure of Obaseki drawing to an end, and who will succeed him. That is where the disagreement came up. And all the fight and all the things we are hearing in Edo State is as a result of that particular power play. Yes.
I don't get this issue of the governors and deputies. This is not the first time we have the governors and their deputies having this same issue. What is the problem with the governors? That they will, I don't understand. Why will you have a running mate that you cannot trust to hand over to? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, because it brings us to this reality, this fact that this political running mate, this running mates of a thing, they are not necessarily, they were not necessarily picked by the real candidates. Probably the political party or some godfathers or whatever paired them, whatever, and probably imposed the deputy as a running mate to the governor. Perhaps that is the basic reason why the governors do not have, because it was not their choice in the first place. Therefore, they don't have confidence in handing over to someone that cannot either cover their tracks, their probably ugly tracks, or give them listening ears, a sort of. I think. What do you think about that?
The issue of deputy governorship having problem with the governors is also one of the dynamics of Nigeria politics. If you look at what happens in Nigeria in the states, the deputy governor is always chosen to balance up a ticket in every state. I'll give you an example. In Benue State, the chief people are in majority. Okay. The Idomas and other tribes are minority. So when a chief person is the governor, the deputy will be chosen from the Idoma group for inclusiveness and to balance the ticket. Now, when it comes to succeeding the governor, the principle of giving your deputy does not apply, because the three people who are a majority would like to still hold on to that position. So again, a chief man will have to come. The deputy governor who is from the other minority tribe will end up empty-handed. In some states, the issue is about the zoning. Like I told you, in Edo State, the North Senatorial Zone, the Central, and the South. The governor is from the Benin side. Adams Oshimole and Eshuaibu are from the North Senatorial Zone. The governor and some stakeholders see that the Central Zone should now produce the governor, since the other two governors, two zones have produced governors. The deputy governor, on the other hand, may be feeling that he has sacrificed a lot and that his boss, the governor, should back him up for the governorship. So you can see the series of conflict and disagreements. So in almost every state, there is an attempt to balance the ticket, but when it comes to succeeding the person, you see that the balancing act no longer works for the person who was chosen as the deputy governor. Then in other states, if you look at what is happening in Ondo State, where Akeredolu has been sick and was away abroad for treatment, there were attempts to say that he will probably not survive because he has a long-standing sickness. And they were jostling while he was abroad for treatment for who will succeed him.
Wow.
It is said that the deputy governor was already intriguing to take over power. So as soon as he came back from treatment, he set out to cut the deputy governor to size. He has dismissed the aides of the deputy governor. And as we speak, the House of Assembly is trying to impeach the deputy governor. So it's the dynamics of power in Nigeria that is affecting the relationship between the governor and the deputy governor. To the extent that some people are even clamoring now that the constitution should be amended to provide specific roles for deputy governors. As it is now, they are what we call spare tires.
Yeah.
So the governor, they are just waiting in the wing.
Yeah.
If the governor becomes incapacitated, they can now step in. But while the governor is there, they are virtually powerless.
Yeah.
That is the situation.
Unfortunately, that is it, and I don't see anything wrong with that system. I think that is what is practiced in the US as well. So, because the truth is, this deputy, I don't know, there should be a balancing, because these deputy governors, they can be overly ambitious sometimes. I remember what happened to these deputies generally, including vice presidential candidates or whatever. I remember what happened during Obasanjo and Atiku time. Atiku, they had forced Obasanjo time. Atiku was extremely powerful politically, more powerful than the president himself. It's sort of that he almost tackled this guy down or whatever. So, but that's just it. I think in my own opinion, the system should remain like they shouldn't alter that. That's all we need to do. You can't have two captains in one ship. So that is just, in my own opinion, that's just okay. When you are the boss, you are the boss, and that's just if you give, if they venture give a kind of give so a level of power to deputy governors. My God, some of the states, or if not all of the states, will end up being ungovernable. That's just the truth. So the best thing is, I understand some governors can be overly possessive, overly bossy. It's sort of, I understand that, but that is why they are the C of the state, commander-in-chief of the state. So that is just it. If these people don't like him, they vote him out and bring in someone else. But you can't have two captains in the same ship. That's just normal stuff to me. Except you have.
Let me add that the deputy governor was not conceived as a position to be a helper to the governor, no, or a co-governor. He was conceived as a standby to avoid a vacuum in power. If anything should happen to the governor, even when the governor is taking his annual leave, he can step in to act. When the governor is incapacitated by sickness, he can step in to act. If the governor is impeached, there will be no vacuum. The deputy governor can step in. That is the role of the deputy governor. Just like you said, if the deputy governor were to be constitutionally empowered, it's going to be a serious distraction to the governor.
Yeah.
And you gave the example of Atiku Abubakar. The fact that Obasanjo came into power when he was not a politician, when he had no political base, he was railroaded into power. And he had to rely on the political base and politicians at that point in time. And if you recall, at the point that Obasanjo came to power, Nigeria was a pariah state coming from Abacha era throughout the world. Nobody wanted to listen to Nigeria. Nobody wanted to do business with Nigeria. So Obasanjo conceived himself as somebody who will go around the world to restate Nigeria's image. And he left the governance and economic issues, domestic issues,
to Atiku,
in the hands of his deputy.
Yes.
And then we saw what happened. Atiku Abubakar then used that power to try to enlarge his base, to try to set up and enlarge his own political base with a view to succeeding
his boss.
And then he couldn't wait for Obasanjo to do 8 years.
After 4 years, he was impatient. Yeah.
He felt that he was politically
powerful
strong
enough. Yes.
because he controlled the governors, the 19 governors of the PDP.
That is
so
it.
he now attempted to hold Obasanjo to ransom. So that is an inkling of what will happen if the deputy governors are empowered or
right.
given powers outside the powers donated to them by the president.
Yeah, that is it. Honestly, that's just the point. I think, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with this current system. I just have to make it work. Okay, moving away from Nigeria, I actually wanted us to talk about Kano politics, the tribunal, but I think I shelved that idea. That's a stale stuff now. I think they already headed to Supreme Court on the appeal case. Okay. We shall be moving away from Nigeria right now. We're going global, and specifically, I actually wanted us to talk about what is happening in Russia right now. Ukraine, Russia, but that's just by the way. But I think let's talk. If we have time, we can go into that briefly. But I want us to talk about U.S. politics right now. Briefly, we may not even go into the nitty-gritty of the US politics, but we want to talk about what is happening right currently with between as regard to the the upcoming 2004 presidential election that is going on here now. The primaries are on. The primary season, not the primaries are not yet on, but the season, we are in the season right now. We are preparing for they are preparing for the primaries, both parties, sort of. But the heat right now is in the Republican Party, where you have so many aspirants coming on. But anyway, it's usual with the Republican Party. They are never united when it comes to. That's one thing good about the Democrats. They are always united. The Republican Party, you see, for one position, you see multiple people jostling for one position instead of them to be able to say, okay, this person can go, or very few people can go, whatever. Probably choose someone or few people that can actually, but everybody wants to be in the race, sort of. So, what do you? What can you give us some preamble or an analysis of the current situation, the current political situation in Nigeria vis-a-vis Biden versus Trump and all the stories going on around Trump right now?
Let me first say an overview of Nigerian politics versus the US politics.
Aha, sorry to cut you short. That skipped my mind. I was actually going to ask you to actually give us comparison of what is happening in Nigeria right now, what is happening in the US. Beautiful, because I think I made a different video and a separate video on that, on what is the comparison. I tried to compare. I gave very, very vivid, clear comparison between President Biden and President Tinubu and the leadership of the U.S., current leadership of the U.S. and the current leadership of Nigerian presidency. So on that video, I gave details of it, but I want you to still expatiate on that and give us more. See if we can get more from that. Comparing what is happening, Nigerian leadership with the American leadership, and in specificity, comparing the current president, both presidents, in their dispositions. Can you give us that comparison?
Well, let me first say, like I said, an overview of politics in Nigeria and politics in the US.
Yes.
No matter what you say of US politics, I'm not minding the undercurrents, the things that are done in the dark. We still talk about issues, the economic development, the direction you want the economy to go, the social issues, abortion, gay rights, and others. They still dominate the American politics. In Nigeria, what dominates our politics are not issues. It's ethnicity, it's religion, is geopolitical considerations, where you come from, and tribe. That is the serious drawback. These are the life issues of Nigerian politics. You will not hear somebody talking about the economic direction. And I'll give you an example.
Yes.
The present President Tinubu has been looking for the presidency or preparing himself for presidency for over 20 years. He had been a governor of the most populous state in Nigeria. And he was referred to as the leader of the APC that came to power at the federal level in 2015. He is also in business, a very wealthy businessman, so to speak. You expect that somebody who has been preparing himself for over 20 years to be president of Nigeria, somebody who had ruled the most populous state in Nigeria, Lagos State, you expect that such a person will have a very clear-cut economic agenda where you want to take the country economically. Yeah. You expect that such a person will have a very clear-cut idea of how to solve the social problems of Nigeria. Insecurity, kidnappings, killings, rapes. These have been in the public domain over the years. You expect that somebody who had been preparing himself to be president would have a team long before to prepare a very clear-cut agenda so that as he is running, he can hit the ground running. And before that, he will campaign. He will go around the country campaigning on his economic agenda, on his security agenda, on his social agenda. But you will find that there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Tinubu cannot give you a booklet of his economic agenda that he had been tinkering with for the past 20 years. Now, let me give you an example, Chief. Obafemi Awolowo, whom many regarded as the best president Nigeria never had.
Never had, yeah.
Used to make a statement. He said why his political opponents were carousing, cavorting, and enjoying themselves with women and drink. He was always at his table, thinking on Nigeria's problem and trying to devise solutions to them. Mm. That is a real person who is preparing himself to be a leader. When you come to the leadership, you already know the problem on ground. You have already thought out the solutions and not just thinking out. You push them around for other intellectuals to have input into them, to add or subtract from that economic or political or whatever agenda you want to bring into the presidency. You find this thing lacking in our leaders. So they come to power and then become reactionaries. You react to a problem. You react to when this problem come up, you react. Yesterday, I heard that the president has given directives, fresh directives to security officers. We heard directives from President Buhari for more than 500 times in his 8 years in office. Every time there was a killing, you hear he has given directives to military officers, to security. That is a person who came to power without any agenda. So whenever something happens, he tries to react to it. And that is the drawback of our politics. We are not judging people from the content of what they want to do, the direction they want to take the country. We are judging them by where they come from, the size of their pocket, their religion, their geopolitical situation in Nigeria. As bad as the situation in the US is, they camouflage it with social issues, economic agenda, taxes, gay rights, and other border issues, immigration. These are issues that you will hear even before, well before you know the view of the person seeking the presidency, even before he begins to aspire for that. You know his views because he's alert to the problem that is in the US, is in the public domain. So he begins to form his opinion well before he aspires for that office. Now, having said that, when you look at the two presidents, the president of the US and the president of Nigeria, I will say they are two of a kind. In age, they are not that far different.
Absolutely.
And in liberal thinking, they are equally not far apart.
Yeah.
They are equally not far apart. The only thing that separates them is the power of America. America dominates the world. So to that extent, the president of the US, in relation to the president of Nigeria, is far, far greater than our president. But to be frank, our president is somebody who wanted power. Now, it is not an issue of honesty. Nigeria has gone to a stage where it is not about honesty of leadership. You can come to the presidency with an honest intention, but you may not have the capacity to effect any meaningful change in Nigeria. That dichotomy, that problem between honesty and capacity is very important. With the situation in Nigeria now, I would rather have somebody with capacity and a bit dishonest than somebody who has no capacity at all and is honest. That is the truth.
Yes, thank you so much. Before we continue on with this, I was supposed to actually make this comment to the public. Now, some people may, especially Nigerians, will say, why discussing US or over Nigeria issue, whatever, how, when we have our own situation. Now, I am interested in the US, what's going on in the US, because US has a very strong and prominent role to play, except if not now that China is trying to make inroads, actually, which they are doing aggressively right now in the entire Africa. Right now, even in Nigeria, but as far as I'm concerned, so far, US is still the prominent force in Nigeria. They are very, very instrumental to driving so many of our key policies in Nigeria, sort of, because they influence our key policies, especially financial policies through the IMF and so. And that is just it. And beyond that, I have personal interest in what happens in the US as well, because of some reasons that I may not be able to just open up to the public at the moment. But that is just it. Moving forward, now you mentioned, I just want to make a comment about this issue of Tinubu's preparedness for that, for several decades he's been preparing for this. I think, okay, not several decades, about a couple of decades he's been preparing for this or thereabout. From when he was a governor, I trust that the ambition came up from his governorship when he was a governor of Lagos State. So now, in comparison, I'm bringing President Trump. I don't know if you have followed President Trump antecedents dated back to 30, 35 years ago, what he's been saying. I don't know if you watched his interviews of what he has been saying over the years for decades right now. At that point that he didn't even know. I think that guy was like a prophet. He was really, really like a prophet there, because everything, I remember during the first election period, these videos resurfaced, and when I watched this interview, I said, what? This guy sounded like a prophet. The things the interview he granted several years ago, 1984, 85, 87, 89, or whatever, with some of the interviews with Oprah Winfrey, for God's sake. All the things he said then, everything he said then are those things he said and did when he became the president. And the sickness, the US sickness he foresaw then. He foresaw and saw that, because at that point, so many things have been going on wrong in the US. The United States policy, global policy, economic policy, local policy. They've been having this issue for a very long time, and it's been slowly going down until it came to this level, this very, very ugly level right now. Donald Trump has been saying all that, been cautioning US over especially the international global policies with other countries or whatever. Everything he said, everything he commented on, and would have been able to do that he would have been able to do if he were to be in government. Everything, even when Oprah asked him if he was running for president then, or I think that was in late 80s or whatever, and he said he practically just said that he doesn't. I've forgotten his, but he just sarcastically responded to that, and that's just it. Now that is what you find, what you see of someone who was actually preparing for several years to be. So the truth is, people will say Donald Trump has actually been preparing for presidency for almost 40 years before he eventually became president. And what happened in his 4 years? 4 years. I classify that man as the best president US ever had. In 4 years. There was a time I think I posted records. His record, the record he achieved, record of achievement for just 4 years. That no president ever achieved half of it. Everything, every single thing. He's the only politician, someone who actually campaigned on specific promises and eventually fulfilled those promises within 4 years. There's no one promise, campaign promise, he reneged on. None, not even one. He fulfilled all the promises and even much more things that he didn't promise. That is the action of someone who has been preparing for presidency, or probably all his life. So that is just, I brought that because you made mention of Tinubu's preparedness, no clear agenda or whatever, and that struck me to remember Donald Trump as well in that in the opposite light. So please, can you continue with what you have? Can you continue on the U.S. Politics? What do you see? What can you tell us is going on right now? And especially with regard to the Donald Trump situation.
Well, let me say straight away that Donald Trump's problem is not performance. It's not about performance. It's about the fact that he's not a typical politician. He says it as he sees it.
That is it.
And he does what he says. Yeah. Now, in the political terrain, that is an anathema. To say what you want and do what you said you will do. That is not typical politics. The politicians say something for the benefit of the votes.
Yeah.
And when they're in power, what they do is for the benefit of the cover that backs them. But he says what on campaign trail, he says exactly what is in his mind. And when he was in power, he did exactly what he had said.
That is it.
So it was a very strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
That the people had not seen, the establishment had not seen. Now that has endeared him to millions of Americans.
Yeah.
For the first time, they saw an honest person, somebody who does what he says, and who means what he says, as opposed to, if you talk about Joe Biden, he flops on virtually everything according to how the polls are going.
Yeah.
He was once fiercely against gay marriages.
Gay marriage,
He was once fiercely against
abortion.
Abortion. Very fiercely against abortion. Everything that he once supported, he has changed his mind based on this thing.
Pressure,
so
yeah.
you see, Donald Trump became an enigma.
Yes.
An enigma. And the establishment, even as much as you talk about America, about freedom, about vote, there is still an establishment under the table that tries to arrange everything.
Correct. Absolutely.
They try to prop up the voting system as sacrosanct, as pure, as completely free and fair.
Which
but
is that's not true. Absolutely.
That is not the truth.
Yeah.
And it is a big sin for somebody to challenge that status that they ascribe to their voting and the electoral system.
Yeah.
Donald Trump came up to challenge it. So everything that the establishment had, that he has attacked, he has come up to challenge it. And when you do that, of course, they will come at you. They will fight you because you are going to upset the whole system. You are going to upset what they are used to and how they are used to doing their stuff. So nobody should be surprised. I'm not surprised by the fight against Trump from what you call the liberal media. You know, in US, there's a liberal media, there's a conservative media. But the liberal media, because they have, if you look at the system, take immigration, for instance, they must support open borders because the people that they come in, even whether legally or illegally,
they vote Democrat.
They support them in order for those people to vote for them.
Yes.
Now they support a system where you are not an American system, you are illegal in the US, but the vote should be extended to you.
Yeah.
Because they know that these people are voting for
Democrats, yeah.
For the liberal view. On the other hand, Trump wants to maintain the original or bring back, because it has gone far, far, far. Bring back the original American system, the original American idea.
Yeah.
They are an immigration nation, but it should be lawful immigration.
That is it.
These are things that we directly challenge the liberal establishment. Is attacking their base, because it is from that base that they draw their support and draw their votes. So anything you now come and say against that system that brings in people anywhere from back door, from any border, just enter, even you are documented or not, is going to be viewed as an attack on them, an attempt to reduce or detract from their support. So they are going to fight back. On the issues, you know, the gay rights movement in the US, they merge with the black empowerment fighters. They want to become the same. They want to present an idea that we are in the same group fighting the same things. The blacks have been fighting for equal rights. Immigrants that come in, whether legally or illegally, they want the same thing. The other liberal establishment already there have their views. The views that they believe should have no ceiling. Now, freedom has some responsibility, but they do not want to take the responsibility. They want the freedom. They want a situation where an American should be free to do whatever he wants to do. That is an utopia. There's no such society, and there can never be. Because where your freedom stops, my freedom begins.
Yes.
If we take it to its logical conclusion, people will now be marrying dogs and horses and animals.
Yeah.
People will be willing, when they want to die, they will their access to dogs, to animals. People will have lawful marriages. They want to register marriages with animals. We will come to that state in the US.
Yeah, absolutely.
If care is not taken, we will come, and even worse than that, pedophile, having sex with minors of whatever age, even months, will be legitimized. Every kind of thing that has a moral repugnancy will eventually become recognized. That is the logical outcome of where the US is going today. But what they fail to realize is that, look, everybody, the rest of the world knows that no power in the world can defeat the US militarily. The US can only be defeated from within.
From within, absolutely.
It is the decay of America that will ultimately destroy its civilization.
Yeah.
And we have history to back it up.
Yeah.
The Roman civilization, the Greek civilization, civilizations have come and gone. Powerful countries have emerged, and their time have gone. They have been destroyed from within. That is where the US is going right now. If they insist on this liberal nonsense, to carry it to an abnormal level, that would be the logical outcome. No matter they can continue to develop weapons of mass destruction, if the internal contradictions within the US are taken to its logical conclusion, the US will collapse from within. And talking of the economic power, you know, the US military power is underpinned by the economic power.
Yeah.
And that is a common thing throughout the world.
Yeah.
Your economic power drives your military power.
Your military, yeah.
As we speak, China is coming up and challenging the US both on the economic scene and on the military scene.
On the military, yeah.
For now, the US remains the top country, but for how long?
That is the point.
If the trend continues,
yes, of course,
only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And don't forget that US lives on printed money. It's not living on genuine economy.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
living on the printing of dollar.
Yes.
Its trillions of debts are underwritten by the printing of more dollar, because the dollar is the international currency.
Yeah.
That's why other countries who are indebted find it difficult to repay their debts. But America is the largest debtor nation in the whole world.
Yeah.
But it simply prints money to continue spending the dollar. So the economy is a paper economy, so to speak. If, for instance, today, the dollar is no more the reserve currency of the world, American economy will collapse instantly. And that is the root cause of some of the problems we are facing today. The attempts by the BRICS nation to divert from using the dollar as a reserve currency is a national security threat to the US. And one can understand some of the issues on the international scene from that angle. The US is going to fight back to maintain the dollar as the reserve currency of the world. Because if that status is taken away, the US economy will come crashing. That is a fact.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Barrister. That is why I correctly and rightly um, say that when it comes to analyzing every issue, both locally and globally, I think no one does it better than you. Yes, coming back to Trump. What's your opinion concerning his present legal battles? I call it persecution, not prosecution. I just want to hear your own thought because I I don't know why it doesn't take a genius to know that Trump is a saint. Saint when it comes to the political terrain, a sort of not as somebody that is godly. Trump is not. He doesn't attend church. He's not a godly person, but he's a saint in the sense that there is no politician. There is no one that only the FBI. The moment FBI puts its searchlight on you, no matter how clean you are, they will find something to nail you. No one survives the FBI. This is the only man since 2016 or 15. He announced his interest to contest for the presidency. From that point, the system has been on him. They beamed their searchlight on him. They've been investigating him and became even thorough during his presidency. And even when he left, even now became. But I don't know. Look, common sense will tell you that this man is clean. The FBI, the CIA, everything, both local and international bodies, security bodies, they have beamed their searchlight on this man. They've not been able to dig out anything. In fact, initially I just felt every businessman is corrupt. Every successful businessman is. That was my thought. And even Trump, as a rich man, as a billionaire, when he came up, I just felt this guy. All billionaires are corrupt. They do some shady stuff. They do so many illegal stuff. Honestly, this indictments and investigations and all these things, all these criminal hula baloo, fake criminal cases against Trump has really, really even made me to love him even more. Because who will be this much investigated and come out clean? For several years, FBI has been on this man. There's nothing tangible they could come other than some phantom criminal cases or whatever that are not winnable in the courts. A sort of that's to tell you how clean this man is. Even as a businessman, they've not been able to nail him. They've not been able to. They've tried to coerce even the Trump organization employees, his domestic staff, people around him. They've tried to coerce them, threatening them through law to turn. Even some of them turned against Trump. Nothing, a sort of. So this man can never. Honestly, he keeps impressing me at all fronts. He keeps impressing me. I keep having more and more confidence in him, in his leadership also. So please give us your opinion about all this issue going on, all this hula baloo going on around Trump legal matters.
Well, you know that my own opinion is that for the kind of rot and decay that the US is going through now, the person that they actually need is Trump.
Absolutely.
But like I said, whether the establishment will fight him to a standstill is another thing altogether.
Yeah.
But the fight is really on. If you look at the Republican seat, he is way ahead of every Republican that
absolutely.
They're not coming out to contest.
Yes.
So the prognosis is that he will be the Republican candidate.
Yeah.
And then against who? Even within the liberal establishment, there have been fears. One, the state of health of President Biden.
Yeah.
2, lack of confidence in his leadership. And 3, his policies. So within the liberal establishment, they would love to have someone else. They are not sure that they can present Biden in the 2024 election with a measure of success. But you and I know that in primary election, to defeat a sitting president within your own party,
yeah,
is a tall order.
That is
so
it.
they are throwing up some banters now. Some things have been thrown up. Okay, we will bring Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
she's the only person that can defeat Trump.
Yeah,
because the vice president is a no-go area.
Of course.
Her pools are worse than the.
Oh my God, that woman is. Yes.
She will stand no chance. So the liberal establishment are really in a quandary of what to do, how to avert what they perceive as a looming disaster for them in 2024. They have fallen back on the attempts to cripple Trump politically.
Yeah.
Believing that all the court cases,
indictments, yes. Yeah.
1, we reduce the confidence of the American government.
Yes.
In him, and we reduce him politically to a candidate that cannot threaten them. Whether that will happen, the jury is still out. But they are aware that there is a core base of supporters of Trump that nothing on earth, not the court cases, not any filing of any defamatory anything can shake the support.
Just like me, I'm among the core base. That's just the truth.
He has a solid base that there's nothing you can do to take them away. So they are targeting by this series of court cases the independents and those who have not really made up their minds in both parties, thinking and believing that this thing will cause enough damage,
yeah,
and will weaken Trump's ability to win the presidency. But if things continue to go as they are, if the feebleness of the president, Biden, continues to be demonstrated in the way he goes about, sometimes he seems lost. In a big occasion, he went to the UN, and after his speech, he didn't know where to turn and go. No, people are watching and saying, is this really our president? Is this man still trying to come back? I mean, he is going mentally. He's not fit. For the first time since I have been monitoring American politics, this is the first time that a president will pre-select journalists to ask questions. The questions are pre-selected. The handlers give him the names of journalists to call.
Yeah.
And apparently, you know that the questions have already been arranged.
Yeah, that is it.
And the answers given to him strictly to follow. So when he goes out to give a press conference, it's not really a press conference, it's an arranged conference where he goes about already agreed on and pre-selected journalists who will ask questions that are already known to him. And the answers are already prepared for him. As soon as he finishes that, he's going. He will not take any question that is not vetted by his handlers. This, to me, is the first time I've seen an American president be handled in this way. Being told by his handlers, take 3 questions, take 4. and take questions from social and so journalists. Don't answer social person's question if you even manage to ask. It's all terrible.
It is,
And
honestly.
you see sometimes even in the teleprompting that he does, sometimes he seems lost.
Yeah, most
And
times.
the
That's
handlers
honestly.
sometimes cut him off when they see that he's going off script.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen this with an American president. So if this kind of deterioration continues into next year, I believe that even a lot of people who are on the sidelines, independent and undecided, will say that, look, America is at such a crossroad that we don't need such a person as our president. The times are so dire and difficult
Yeah, it
and
is.
challenging that
Honestly.
we cannot have such a feeble man. If he is elected by next year, he will still be the oldest person ever elected as president in the US history. So you can understand what is happening, and people know that he is very, very feeble. So if the trend continues, on the other hand, you see that Trump is not far different from him in age.
In age,
But
yeah.
he's vigorous. He
Very
demonstrates that
good. Energetic,
he
yeah.
epitomizes a healthy person
Yeah.
with his brain intact. He is very, very vigorous. He is a
Yeah.
whole world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until if you are looking at their physique and their actions, until they tell you that they are near in age, you will not believe it.
Yeah.
It's a world of difference.
That is it.
So that is what keeps Trump going, being an enigma, saying the kind of things that people say in hushed tones.
Yeah. That
So
is
that
it.
others will not, the liberal
That is
people
it.
will not challenge them. He
Yeah.
says them in the public and on national television and in speeches and in at rallies. He's not afraid to say them.
Yeah.
So he is a different ball game.
Yeah, of politician.
And the establishment has found it very difficult to put him down. They have found it very difficult to destroy him politically, although the fight is still going on.
It's still going on, and I don't see them actually defeating him because I see God helping him, even though Trump, like I said, although I like him, but he's not a godly person, and but he doesn't even care. But we know that it is God that is just behind him. Otherwise, nobody survives FBI. Nobody survives American establishment. Nobody survives America. This man is unbelievable, honestly. So that is just it. Anyway, I was expecting you to even, I understand you are a lawyer, so it's understandable that you won't go there because you just believe the innocent presumed, so before someone being presumed innocent until found guilty or whatever. I understand that as a lawyer you won't, but the truth is, there is what even you lawyers will refer to as evidential evidence, a sort of that is really, really standing against Biden. Biden is not only feeble-minded, he's not only feeble physically, he is feeble, very, very, very politically, full of corruption, whatever. If you go, I know definitely if you go into the corruption case against his son, but technically, it's against him. He's been all over the place with corruption, running into millions of dollars or whatever, collecting bribes from different countries to influence policies, collecting bribes from China and Ukraine just to sell out. I mean, honestly, Americans, I remember so many years ago, Americans used to be models all over the globally as citizens, people who are in fact they used to be models as that to the extent that they were referred to as citizens that as no one can ever match the patriotism of an American citizen. A sort of. So this was, they were referred to as the best when it comes to patriotism all over globally. But man, can you imagine politicians, the so-called American politicians, being sell out to countries like China? Sell out. In fact, they are politicians, not just Biden alone, politicians, including Republicans. You know, Republicans, we have the ones we call the rhinos. Rhinos, that's the rhinos are the report. That's the definition of rhino is Republican in name only.
In name only.
Yeah, that is it. They have the same thing, the same idea, the same pursuits, the same thing, the same policy with the Democrats. The only thing is that they are putting on the Republican Democrats are putting on mask. So what they do is they do it behind the scene. But lately, everybody has been seeing what they are doing, right? And these are the same rhinos, the Republicans who are against, they are together with the Democrats, the liberals, fighting Trump. Trump that is in the same party with them, sort of. So, but that is just it. Anyway, just like I said, I don't see them if they would have succeeded against Trump, that could have taken place long ago. Not now. They don't have anything against Trump, and they can't get him down. That's just the truth. The more they keep indicting him, the more his popularity keeps growing, and his endorsements, public endorsements, keep growing. You made mention of the independents. The independents are good. In fact, during the past election, the first time he was elected into government, into presidency, and this past election that he was rigged out, he has always recorded the highest number of black voters moving away from the Democrat Party just for his sake. And now independents, including black voters, are moving out in droves just because of Trump. Moving away from the Democrat Party in droves just because of Trump. And so many of them are supporting Trump. And that is just it, because their eyes are open. They are realizing it. Initially, the general trend was that the trending news over in the mouth and the ears of everyone was that it was the Republicans that enslaved the blacks or whatever, and that is. But the blacks now, some of them are liberating themselves by listening to the truth, which is the truth. The truth has always been that that the Democrats were the ones who actually they fought against the liberalization, the freedom of the blacks, against the freedom of the blacks. They were the plantation owners that of course they had plantation. That was why they never wanted the blacks to be free. It was the Republican Party that fought against slavery, against the black slavery. So that is just, they are beginning, some of them who are enlightened, they are becoming, their eyes are getting opened, and they are beginning to switch gradually. It's slow though, because the media, just like you noted, the media is overwhelmingly liberal. They have bought everything. Look, the wealth of this country is in the hands of the liberal. So they basically own everything. They own the establishment, the liberals, or they dominate the establishment. They dominate the corporations. All the corporations, they dominate the media. The media, 90% of the media is just liberal. It's been dominated by the liberal. So that is the problem we are having in the US is having seriously, because people just believe what they hear from the media, because the media is the dominant. The liberal media is a dominant factor in the news industry. Unfortunately, so many people they believe what they hear. They are not hearing from except social media now. Since what's his name, Elon Musk bought over Twitter. at least now liberals are beginning to get the right news, at least balanced news from conservative organizations or media organizations and sort of. So unlike before, where everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the media stuff or whatever, they were all owned by liberals. And so at least now, Elon Musk cannot be referred to as conservative, but he's a liberal. He's actually a liberal man, but he's a liberal with common sense. He's a liberal man, businessman with common sense, and that is just it. He's just a businessman who wants to prosper, and so that is why he's doing the right thing, opening the door for all legitimate news to every legitimate media organization to air their respective opinions and give out their respective news. So that is just it. Thank you so much, Barrister. The time is against us. I actually wanted us to talk about the Russia. We'll talk about it on a different segment because what is going on in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine, is a very terrible situation, and that is the hand of the U.S. Joe Biden's U.S. It has to do with the corruption going on with Joe Biden and Ukraine. And so anyway, like I said, that this is a very broad issue. We'll be delving into it probably in our next segment with you. We'll be talking about this issue going on between Russia and Ukraine and the Western world called NATO. Sort of. So, but I think for now, except probably I give you if there's any thoughts based on what we have discussed so far, based on the topic we have discussed so far. Your last thoughts so that we can round up the show.
My last thought, let me start from the US, is that while liberalism is good, liberalism with responsibility is good, the ultra-liberalism that has taken over the U.S. will only lead to the U.S. destruction.
Demise. Yeah.
Will only lead to the demise of the American civilization. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There is no other end to it than the demise of the American civilization. And we here in Nigeria should take a cue from that. We have put off the naked colonialism that was here, but we are still mentally colonized because we like to trumpet what is happening in the US and try to bring it to Nigeria. Uncritically, we try to apply what is happening in US to Nigeria uncritically without taking into account our
peculiar situation. Yeah.
Look at the issue of gay rights that they want to impose on the rest of the world. Uganda passed very severe legislation.
I was so excited at that.
Against gay rights, against gay people in Uganda, and America took it upon itself to punish Uganda. Not only did they openly state that they are going to withdraw aid from Uganda, they said they are going to fight Uganda at every international forum, at any level, because of that. Can they say that to China?
Of course
not. Can they say that to Saudi Arabia?
Of course not.
Can they say that to other countries?
Yeah, that's the problem. America, they bully. That's the point. They keep bullying.
Why would they want to come and bully?
Yeah, that's the point.
African countries.
They keep bullying the weak.
We have our culture.
Honestly.
How can you come and impose something that is 100% against our culture?
Honestly.
And want us to take it hook, line, and sinker?
Yeah. No way.
Because of small aid that you used to give us.
Yeah.
Our leaders should learn these lessons.
Yeah, we don't even need
because of. In fact, you said we were going to discuss about Tinubu's address to UN. Because one of the things he said there, I wanted to comment on it.
All right.
Because he talked about the internal and external factors that have limited or skewed our economic structures against economic development, industrial expansion, job creation, and equitable distribution of wealth. And he didn't get the irony where he now says that for Nigeria to fulfill its destiny, it must create jobs. It's like putting the cart before the horse.
Before the horse. You are right.
If you identify internal and external factors that cripple your economic structures and make it impossible for you to create jobs, to create industrial production, to expand the economy, to distribute wealth, then that is where your fight should focus.
That is it. Yeah.
That's where your fight should focus. The rest of Africa should come together and fight these economic structures that have been skewed against our development from a world economic system that we did not participate in making. We were not consulted and we did not support. But it forced down our throat and is making it virtually impossible for us to develop.
That is it.
That is why I say our leaders do not have sufficient understanding of local and international politics, local and international economies, or where they have the understanding, they are lackeys of the international community, the Western community. So they cannot do much because they are under the support and sponsorship of Western imperialism.
Honestly, it's so unfortunate. Honestly, you are absolutely right. Honestly, yes, we're supposed to discuss the United Nations stuff. I just felt some of the stuff are already stale, sort of. But honestly, I appreciate that you brought this idea, this thought right now as your parting shot. That was timely and it was insightful. Sort of. So thank you so much, Barrister Manta. As we come to the end of this show today, we thank you for honoring our screen again, our show today. Once again, viewers, we've been having discussion and conversation with Barrister Austin Manta, who is the principal partner of AA Manta and Co. And his chamber is located in both Abuja and Kaduna. Sort of. So it's a very, very experienced a lawyer and a legal and political analyst. And so thank you, Barrister Manta, for this time again. Please, let's do this again. We'll always need you around to actually express to us your vast knowledge of opinion, vast knowledge of global and local affairs, sort of. So thank you so very much once again, and we hope to see you back on this show again. And viewers, excuse me, and viewers, as we round up this, this is Oweleketv, and this is Jibrin Angle on Oweleketv. Please subscribe to this channel. We are on all the major social platform, social media platform. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. Okay, now X. We are on Instagram, and YouTube is actually our major channel, sort of. And so our address is at Oweleketv. Again, at Oweleketv. You can check us all out on our website at www.oweleketv. Thank you so very much again. Please, I urge you to subscribe to our channels and put on your notification as you will receive our contents whenever we upload, and whenever we are going live, you also receive notification so that you can be able to join us. Thank you, and God bless.
Fascinating insight, and I'm sure your burning questions have found some resolution. Notably, the Supreme Court has assured us that they possess soft copies of all documents, so let's hope for a seamless future. Thank you immensely for tuning in. We invite you to join us again as we continue to dissect and explore the latest trending issues. I am Rachel Abioye, and this is Oweleketv.